All right, hello everyone, and welcome to the Limitless Life Code podcast. My name is Jordyn, and I'm a holistic healing specialist, and I have got some powerful content here for you today. The Limitless Life Code is all about helping you break free from the chains that have been holding you back from living a life of true freedom, abundance, and purpose. And that life is your birthright. So, you know, when it comes to self-sabotage, people often think or are convinced that they are the problem. And motivational speakers and gurus and coaches are like shouting from the rooftops that you're just not trying hard enough, or they'll say that you're not disciplined enough, or you need more discipline, or that you're lazy, or you're unmotivated, or you just don't want it bad enough. And that is why all things always seem to fall apart. And why do they say this? Why would they tell you that you're just not motivated enough? Well, the reason why is because they are selling motivation. They can sell you tools for discipline. They can sell you whatever they claim is going to fix you. And when those tools don't work, guess what? The blame lands on you, and the cycle of consumerism continues and continues. You're always seeking, buying, trying, failing, seeking, buying, trying, failing, and the cycle just goes on and on and on. And here's the thing, okay? Manipulation always has a little bit of truth mixed in. And the truth is, yes, you are, in fact, responsible for where you are right now. But the part that they don't tell you is that it's also not your fault and you're not to blame for where you are right now. So let me explain how that works. Your mind is literally your survival tool. It's constantly adapting and programming itself to learn from your environment and create a path of predictability. I've talked about this in previous videos. And why is this? Because your mind craves safety, and safety is found in certainty. Safety equals certainty. And so your mind is always trying to predict the future based on the past, based on the experiences and conclusions that your brain has made along the way in your life. But here's the kicker. Your mind is also hardwired to focus on the negative, to filter things through the lens of negativity and scarcity and lack. And this goes all the way back to caveman days when being hyper aware of potential danger was critical for survival. Back then, staying alert and taking the same path home every day might have kept you alive. But we don't live in those times anymore. And even if you don't want to take that scientific approach and just take a completely spiritual approach in explaining why this is the way it is, it's because your mind, your egoic mind, is literally the answer to the question, what if I can't survive here? What if I can't survive here? It is the answer to the idea of lack. Well, if you're going to be lacking, if you don't have what it takes to survive here, I will go out into the world and get it. That's what your egoic mind is wired to do, which means your egoic mind is founded upon the belief in lack, which means it has sprouted out from the belief in lack as its foundation. So it obviously is going to be wired to perceive things through the lens of lack. And the problem is that even though we don't live in those times of caveman days and we're actually incredibly beautiful, abundant spiritual beings, your mind is still set up to protect you by keeping you in the known. Even if that known, the familiar, feels miserable, lonely, or unfulfilled. Your mind does not care about how you feel. And I don't mean it in a malicious way. It's not that it doesn't care about you. It's that it doesn't have the capacity to care about how you feel. It only cares about keeping you safe from the unknown and from uncertainty. And it will do whatever it can to keep you right where you are. Even if that is a place of discomfort, even if that's a place of misery and self-loathing and depression and anxiety, because your brain is only concerned with keeping you physically safe, not emotionally safe, physically alive. And on top of this, you also carry a lifetime of programming that shapes the lens through which you view life. Programming that was inherited by a society that is driven by consumerism, founded upon the belief in lack, founded upon egoic principles. From the moment that you are born, your mind begins to collect information. And up until the age of about 9, your brain is like a literal sponge, soaking up everything that you experience, everything you hear, everything you witness. And this collection of experiences forms the subconscious stories that will stick with you for the rest of your life. These stories are about who you are, who others are, and how life works. Stories, conclusions, ideas that you have now downloaded into your psyche, into the lens that you are now receiving life through. And through this lens, you receive and interpret every experience. And because of that, you actually are subconsciously creating outcomes that prove these stories right. These stories become your default setting, your autopilot setting. And every time something happens that aligns with those stories or can be twisted into evidence of those stories being true, your brain is taking it as proof and reinforcing those beliefs. And this creates kind of like a game that's completely rigged against you, because your mind is not seeing the world as it is. It's seeing it through the lens it's trying to validate. And until you become aware of this, you're going to be stuck in a loop where your mind controls the narrative and you are at the mercy of that self-fulfilling prophecy over and over again. So let me give you an example, okay? Let's say that you meet the partner of your dreams. Okay, you meet the significant other of your dreams, the boyfriend, the girlfriend, whatever. And everything clicks. And for the first few months, it feels magical. You know, that honeymoon stage where everything is just so good. And you think to yourself, oh my gosh, this is it. This is the love I've been waiting for, the love that I knew I deserved. I knew if I just waited until, and I didn't settle, that I would find something like this. But then 3 months goes by, 4 months, maybe 6, and out of nowhere, doubts just start to creep in. And you begin to wonder do they really love me like they say that they do? And you start thinking like, how could they? How could they love me the way they say they do? I've never been worthy of that kind of love before. And these thoughts don't come out loud out of the surface. You know, they aren't ones that you audibly hear being said inside of your head. They are subliminal. They live underneath the surface and they motivate your actions and your other thoughts, and they come in disguised as projections onto them and what they are saying, and twisting what they say and what they feel into something that fits the narrative of this belief. And before you know it, you're scrolling through social media again and liking other people's profiles and flirting with someone who smiled at you at the grocery store. And the next thing you know, you're in someone else's DMs and your perfect relationship starts unraveling, all because of the story in your head about how unlovable you are. So here's how it goes, okay? Your subconscious story is, in this example, the subconscious story is, I'm not lovable enough for that kind of love. The trigger of the story is a thought, seemingly out of nowhere, makes you suspicious of your happy relationship. What the mind does when this happens is it searches for proof to back up that story. And what you look for, you always find, because you're looking through a lens that sees only proof of what it's trying to validate. And then what you feel is like a victim. You feel like a victim, and your mind spins the story telling you that you need to act fast to protect yourself. So then what do? You believe the story and you react as though it's happening in real life, making decisions based on the proof that you think that you have found. And what could you do instead? Recognize the story underneath the self-sabotage. Catch it in the act and see it for what it really is, because you don't have to act on it. This is the purpose of all of the work that I do with my clients. We teach, we work on the ability to see your thoughts come in real time and discern whether or not they are in service of you and your highest version of yourself or not. We go back in time and we look at the past, not to ruminate in the past, not to roll around in the emotions of the past, not to feel through it unless you absolutely need to, but to see why you do the things you do now, to find the root causes, the original trauma, the original experience that created these beliefs in the first place, so that you, when they come in, you know what they look like no matter what kind of disguise they're wearing. And then you get to choose to act differently. You might pull your partner closer instead, surprise them with a romantic getaway, or dance with them in the kitchen. You can take action that proves the story wrong when you recognize that there's a story in play. And then you make a conscious note of that new proof, that new evidence that you have created by taking new action, and file it away in your brain as evidence that the old story doesn't hold up anymore. So that next time, if you keep doing this over and over again, next time, it's going to become easier, because every time that old story shows up, you challenge it and you flip it on its head and you create new, healthier patterns. This is how you can change everything in your life. Those old patterns and cycles that keep happening, those toxic circles you keep going in that hamster wheel of repetitive trauma over and over again, you don't need to keep doing it. You just need to understand the mind and use that understanding to train your brain to think differently, to have a different kind of autopilot. You take your power back. So there you have it, my friends. Your mind is working overtime to protect you, but it doesn't always know what's best for your growth. And you have the power to rewrite your stories and break the patterns that have been holding you back. So if you want to dive deeper into this process and start making lasting change, if you need help or support in this, I invite you to just book a one-on-one session with me. You just have to book one and see if I can help you get there, because I am sure that I can if you're ready. And remember, you are worthy of everything that you desire. You have the power to create a life that reflects that. So until next time, keep doing the work. Keep showing up for your limitless life, because you deserve it.